it doesn't feel like a weight to me because I can't explain it. I don't feel a weight. I just have a love. It's more love. It's more love, and maybe the weight comes in where I have to make sure that I am continually in the word because of the direction it's going to go. We had the lady who had that testimony at the event. She said that she had a vision of it being on a larger scale, and we are laying hands on women and praying for women. And I get goosebumps. That's the whole point. And so I think the weight more comes in for me to make sure that I'm aligned with God, I'm aligned with His word, I'm aligned with His truth, because Caim is representative of Him and His standard.
Welcome back to another episode of High Value Discussions, where we sit down with individuals who are building, leading, and living with intention. My guest is a woman of God, a wife, and the founder of Caim, a growing movement where women come together to strengthen their bodies, deepen their faith, and build a real community. But what makes her work so powerful isn't just the fitness aspect, it's the foundation behind it. She understands that real transformation doesn't start in the gym. It starts with God being at the center of it all. In this episode, we are diving into what it takes to build a life that is rooted in faith, how to walk in discipline when it's extremely difficult, be an example of what a godly marriage is, and how women can step into the calling that God has placed in their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Catherine Le Roux. Kat, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, I am excited. Are we starting? Okay.
Hey, this is natural or wrong. Come on. Kat, how are you doing this morning? Come on.
Come on. I will say I'm very excited, very happy to be here. And I do want to say thank you for having me.
Of course.
It is an honor to be here. And I'm just grateful for what you do and create. So
Thank you so much. Well,
yes.
I had your husband on a few weeks ago. And, I knew you guys from afar. I don't really have say a deep relationship with you guys, but I love your guys' walk. You know what I'm saying? I love how you guys are being led. And I just love how you guys are a great example for the young community. So when I had your husband on, shout out to Carmine, and he's actually here in the studio as well, too.
He is.
And I love how he expressed you. I love how it's so amazing when a man is just so in love with his wife and yet so friendly and playful, because a lot of the times you see relationships as so serious, yet you guys are also just pure best friends.
Sorry, make me cry already. I need a tissue. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry. That's not meant to happen. It's just talking about him. Yes.
No, but it's true because Kat, when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of that.
Yes.
So when I had your husband on and him verbalizing that, it's brings me pure joy because the example, setting that example for not just talking so boldly and so amazingly about his wife, but also speaking to the young men. And that's what Carmine did, he really laid down that blueprint. It's like, hey guys, love your wife as Jesus loved the church, So it's just such a blessing to be able to have you on, and I'm just honored to have you. So thank you for your time again.
Thank you so much. There might be a few tears because anything that has to do with my husband just makes me so emotional, but he is an amazing man, and that's how he is. He's not the type of man that's just gonna say things because it sounds nice. That is how he is.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Kat, so for my audience and for myself, if we could start from the very beginning, what was your childhood upbringing like?
Yay. Let's take it back. So I grew up in South Africa, just like my husband. I have a twin brother and an older sister. So growing up in the house was really fun. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents did a good job with taking us to church, and they were really amazing parents. I would say that growing up, my brother and I were pretty athletic. We enjoyed sports, but my mom was never like, you need to be the best and you need to come first and you need to do that. She never put pressure on us. She would always be there at the games. And I feel like as a child, that meant a lot to me for support. Like seeing my mom there, I was like, okay, I can do this. I have support. And so whenever so I used to swim in school. So whenever I would swim, I'd always get out the pool at the end of my race and then like look for my mom and see her. And I would just feel like such a proud child. And my mom would be so proud of me too. And she would always say to me, as long as you did your best.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me as an adult because I think I have been lucky to not have the pressure of a parent being like, you need to perform, you need to do this, you need to do this. It was always as long as you did your best. I would say that in terms of academics, it wasn't my strong suit, but my mom, the same thing. She would say, as long as you did your best. Of course, she would step in if things weren't doing really well. I have been blessed, really blessed with a great childhood, growing up in a Christian household, although all three of us were very rebellious. Come to probably age 16, it just went all downhill. Downhill from there. That's when we started drinking, smoking, started going to the clubs. And I think I was just very curious. I was like, what is this like? I'm just going to try this. My brother too, my sister as well. So I think we all gave my parents a hard time. My poor parents, all three of us. But eventually I did find my own relationship with God because I think my parents did a great job, but I don't think they always knew how to explain things to us. Like, this is why. Like, for example, I'm just going to talk about it. Like, this is why you wait until marriage until you have sex. This is why you don't get drunk. This is why you don't smoke. And so I'm not sure if I had that teaching, if I would still do this, like, listen and do it, because I think I had a very rebellious nature. And so probably when I was in my early 20s, that's when I started taking my relationship with God seriously, because my brother, he was serving in church. So he was naughty, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to start serving in the church and just doing God's way. Yes. And he'd always say to me, come and serve, come and serve, come and serve. And I was like, I don't want to serve. Like, leave me alone. But eventually I started serving. I was in a very worldly relationship. And then early 20s, I started serving and finding God for myself. And I think that's the thing. When you find God for yourself, not because of the way you grew up, everything changes. Like, you really learn who He is, how He is, and how much He cares. Because I think we just see God as this man or spirit that wants to punish you, but it's actually the complete opposite. He actually just cares very deeply for you. And He knows better. We don't think so, but He does. And so probably in my early 20s, I was in that worldly relationship, and then Caim and I started speaking. I know he shared on that in his podcast, but I will say that at that time it was pivotal for me, because searching for God and growing my relationship with God was when I also found Caim. And if Caim had met me when I was a few years younger, he probably would not have dated me. He had high standards. Like, he was a godly man with high standards, and he would not tolerate certain behaviors, certain characteristics. Yeah. And so I believe everything was God's timing to be like, I'm going to take you from this state into this stage of your life where you're going to find me for yourself, because you're going to find your husband.
Yes. Did you ever wrestle with that? Like, while you had that in front of you, did you ever wrestle with that? Because you were saying that you didn't want to serve. Like, you were living, say, like the both ways. And we've all had that when we're in the church and we're also, like, say, doing things out in the world. Did you ever wrestle with that where you were fully committed, but also like the enemy was also trying to pull you back? Did you ever have that?
At certain times of my life, yes. So I think when my brother was asking me to serve, I was so worldly. And I knew in my spirit what I was doing. That's why I wrestled. I knew. Why are you doing these things? Why are you drinking? Why are you doing all of those ungodly things, but wanting to serve? But when I was about 2021, and I did start serving, and I know I'm all over the place. I'm trying to like get it on track. But Eventually, when I started serving, I felt like a fraud because they made me a leader and I was leading people, but I was still very worldly. So I was doing all of those things Monday to Saturday, and then Sunday I was serving. And that's where I was wrestling because I was like, oh, God, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm in your house serving your house. But I feel like he almost, how do I explain this? Like, I eventually stopped wrestling when my mom sat me down and she could see everything that I was trying to change. So I was in this worldly relationship, but I had just met Caim, and just seeing the type of man Caim was, I could already see like, this is what I want. And my mom sat me down and she was like, you need to go on this church camp. You need to pray about your relationship that you're currently in, and then just see what God says. And this is actually my favorite moment with God ever, because I was at church camp leading a youth group. I cannot believe it. It is so comical. And we had a rally night, which was just a worship night. And we were there worshiping. And I had just made a friend who was also a leader there. And God was like, you need to tell this lady everything that you are doing. And I was like, hold on, sir. Everything? This woman barely knows me. Like, I'm just going to share everything that I'm doing with this woman. Mind you, I'm also 20 years old. And so I'm like, okay, Lord. And it was clear as day. Like, there's been moments in my life where God has, it's just been, I heard him loud and clear. So I said, okay, God. So I turned to her and I was like, her name was Larissa. And I was like, hi, Larissa. I just really need to share like everything that I'm doing and going through. And she looked at me and she said, Cat, I have a husband that does not go to church with me and my kids. And God doesn't want that for you. And I'm 20 years old. I'm not even thinking about marriage. But because I was in that worldly relationship, I told her everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are right. I don't want a man or a life where I am the woman going to church, taking my kids to church, and I don't have the same believer next to me. And so I said, okay. I listened to everything. And it was just, you and I talked about the power of vulnerability before we got onto this podcast. But I just believe there's so much in that when God tells you to do something and you do it, and it's going to expose you, but it's for a reason. And so immediately we cried, we shared and everything. And then I went back to praise and worshiping and I was like, okay, God, I want to do this your way. That's when it was everything. And there was no more wrestling. It was just like a non-negotiable at a time where I was like, I want this. Like, I want to follow you. I want to do everything your way. I don't want to do it my way. And then my prayer was, and God, I want a husband that's going to serve you and serve your house, and we will bring our family to church together. And I'm 20. I'm not thinking about a husband, but again, just praying about that. And then I did put in there, and God, can you please be tall and handsome? And I mean, God delivered. Yes. Listen.
Praise God.
Praise Jesus.
Yes.
Praise Jesus. And so just going back to your question about wrestling, I do think there were stages where there was that bit of wrestling, but for me, it was instant. That worship night, rally night, it was instant. There was no more wrestling. And to go a layer even deeper, I don't know how much we can share on this podcast, so edit it out if you need to.
Oh, no, this is,
okay.
Come
on. Okay.
Nothing.
I do want to say that I didn't save myself before marriage, which I wish I did. And Caim I did. And that's something I admire hugely. And I will tell everybody with pride, because that is just an incredible thing. And I remember when we were dating, we shared everything. Like, I told him everything I had done because we were building like trust, and we knew we were heading toward marriage. And I knew everything about him too. And I remember him asking me, well, this is something you did in the past. Is it something that you struggle with now? And I said, no, I don't. I believe God equipped me for that season to be like not wanting to do and have those old ways until we were married. And so I just believe God will do a work in you to help you not wrestle with certain things, as long as you are obedient, and I think as long as you truly want it.
That could either make people overwhelmed by having a man in front of you like that, but it also can be very inspiring and very uplifting as well. And almost
Yes.
like want you to pursue him even more. Because again,
Yes.
I truly believe that Carmi for you was just God given.
He was. There's no there's no other word. He was God given because I all the men that I had dated in the past, they weren't bad people, but they weren't godly. And so it was like God putting it right in front of me. Like marriage is the most intimate relationship you're going to have. And yes, we have an intimate relationship with God, but in the physical, it's the most beautiful thing God is going to give you.
Speaking of like, say, this time and age, I feel like people date without seeing the non-negotiables when it comes to like having a
Yes.
godly man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact there are some non-negotiables for you that
Mm-hmm.
obviously you look for, and then obviously that you have now. I'm kind of curious on what those were. And this could be actually very beneficial to the young women who are kind of wrestling with that right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I love that because I remember we were dating for about 2 weeks and I was thinking about my non-negotiables and Carmine truly is perfect. So when dating him, it was almost like I didn't have much to say. This is a non-negotiable. This is a
Yeah.
non-negotiable. This is a non-negotiable. And for me, my top 3 things were I don't want a man who's watching porn. I don't want a man who's smoking, and I don't want a man who drinks. Those were my top 3. And we were on a date, and we were walking Monte Casino in South Africa. And I said that to him. I said because he was godly already.
Yeah.
He had all of the characteristics already, so that wasn't something I had to question or think about or write down. And so I shared, these are my 3 non-negotiables. I will not have that in a relationship, and I'll not have that in a marriage. And so we spoke about it, and he shared certain things that he wasn't doing, which was amazing, and opened up another layer of vulnerability in our relationship. And that was just a chance for us to see, okay, we're going to work on this together. But then going back to something that has to do with wrestling, I never want to speak on his behalf because I think it is an incredible thing for him to talk about as a man. But it was what he was wrestling with me putting it right in front of him that this is not something that I will have in a relationship. He immediately took it to God, and the Holy Spirit broke it. Broke it. It's done.
That example that you guys lay is it's phenomenal, and I knew that built and even got stronger through time because you guys truly let the Holy Spirit just guide every single step of your guys' marriage. And how have you seen from how it started to how it is now?
Oh, it really is the Holy Spirit. I think we are very blessed because we truly are best friends. So from the beginning, from our very first date, we just clicked. But that's just God. Everything has been easy for us. So yes, we have had challenges where I will be honest, when we first sat down and I did tell him everything, like this is everything I've done, that was probably one of the biggest challenges in our relationship because he had the complete opposite testimony and opposite journey. And so he had to navigate those emotions and things like that. And I thought he was going to break up with me. I was like, Lord, please do not let this man break up with me. And
He's like, I'll pay for the tab and I'm out of here.
But again, Carmine always showed me that when things are tough or a challenge, to always go back to God. And so even though it was hard for him to hear everything that I had done, he went back to God. And I remember him listening to a podcast by Pastor Dawn and Rich Cherie Wilkinson, and they spoke about love. It's not a feeling, it's a choice. And I remember him saying to me, because I really thought he was going to break up with me. I really did. And I remember him saying to me, love is not a feeling, it is a choice, and I will choose to love you. And that's just God. That's just the Holy Spirit. And so from the beginning, that was 3 months into dating. So I would say like that was the first time we had a challenge. But just that, it showed, okay, he's a man of God. He's going to the Holy Spirit. This relationship is already covered by the Holy Spirit. And so everything we have faced, I don't think much has changed, to be honest. So I don't feel like it's gone like this.
Yeah.
I feel like it just always has been amazing because he had and has a good foundation with his walk with God. So it's kept us consistent.
Yes.
I
See,
would
that
say,
word is so powerful, especially in a marriage, because
yes,
it's one of the greatest compliments that you could ever give to your partner is they
yes.
are just consistent,
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys noticed that you guys are being in environments or places or rooms where you are actually assisting younger people or people who are just in their relationship phase or in the beginning of their marriage? Are you guys, say, called to be able to put in those situations as well to be able to assist other people?
That's a good question. I do think we have a heart for it. I don't think we have been put in many positions to do that. I think when we were together, we were very young. So I was around 21, he was around 23. And I think at that time, we were seeking mentorship. So we were seeking married couples in our church that we admire. And so as we kept going, there might have been maybe one or two couples here and there that we help. But if God brings us people, we'll be happy to. I don't think we're the type of people that'll be like, we're here to help you. Let us help you. We're not those kind of people. It's more if God brings them, then we would be happy to be
Yeah.
able to pour into them.
Talk about the importance of mentorship, especially now, like as a godly woman and being a wife.
I love that. Mentorship is very important for anything. Anything that you want to be or do in life, it is important to have, and I highly encourage to have it. And we've been blessed with amazing parents. So I would say our parents were our first mentors. We are really, really lucky. So they are our mentors in terms of our faith. So they are our parents who exposed us to Pastor Ron and Creflo Dollar, and we've been under their teaching for years. And that shaped our faith so much because I grew up in church, but it was a church of excellence and not Holy Spirit driven. And so when they showed us that teaching, it just took our faith and understanding to another level. And Pastor Ron says it all the time. There's two ways you're going to learn. One, either by mentorship, or two, by experience. And experience, both are good. Experience can obviously just be more painful because you're doing it by yourself and trying to figure everything out. And so I think it's wise. The Bible says, walk with the wise and become wise.
Yes.
And we should want to be wise. And when we were newly dating, entering into marriage, we found a couple that we loved that mentored us for a certain period until we left and moved to the US. And it was amazing because I felt like I was dealing with a lot of insecurities at that time in my life. And so I would go to my mentor and speak to her, but she would always bring me back to the truth. And that's what you need. In a mentorship, you need somebody who's they will listen and hear you out, but they are gonna bring you back to the truth because they want the best for you and they want you to be the best version of yourself. And so now moving to the US, I don't think mentorship was on my radar until this year. I just felt God put it on me to be like, you need to find a mentor. I was like, okay, God. And so I found a woman at my church. She's incredible. And it's because I have shared the same office with her for about over a year. So I've seen her walk out her faith. Like, she is one of the most incredible godly women that I know. And I've seen it. And that's what draws me to her, where I see the godly characteristics in her that I want in me. And so I will go after it.
Yes.
And so I've approached her and I've asked her to be my mentor. And it has been so fruitful. We've had, because it's new, I started this about a month or two ago. But just from those 2 months, I can already see how God is like shaping my character because I am choosing her to pour into me. And I've told her, and she will call me out. She'll say, Cat, that's not what you're supposed to say. Cat, that's not what you're supposed to do, because we were talking before we jumped on the podcast about not having your flesh respond and react. And that's genuinely something that I am working on. It is very hard. But she will remind me, like, Cat, do not let your flesh come out. Like, remember, like, go to the work, go to the truth, like, do everything in love. And so I just think it is really important. Whatever stage in life you are in, if you are wanting to start a business, you need to find somebody who is going to mentor you. If you are wanting to be married. Find somebody who is married, that have been married for a couple of years, but you have to see it.
When I was a young man, I had a lot of lady friends in my friend group. And a lot of the moments there was a lot of comparison going around, and I didn't really understand that. I feel like it's not so exploded now today. Back then it was a little bit different, but I
Yes.
still heard it. Now it's just
Yes.
like 10x.
Yes.
When you said something about insecurity, did you struggle in that aspect too when it comes to comparison, when it comes to like say business or
Absolutely. I would say there's still certain insecurities I struggle with. Growing up, I don't even know where it started, where it's come from, because I had a really good childhood, but I think as a woman, we are compared a lot naturally. That's just how things are. Like, I have an older sister, and so naturally people would compare the two of us. So things start that way too, being a woman. And I think the world has tried to show us, like, this is beautiful, look like this, work out like this, eat like this. And so that was constantly being poured into us. And so as a woman growing up, I never felt I was good enough or beautiful enough or whatever it was. And I definitely had brought that into my relationship with Caim, because that area wasn't healed. And I'm grateful he was very gentle with me. Like, he would always be open for me to say, hey, this makes me feel insecure. Like, I don't feel good about this. And it is still a challenge, I would say, but I am on a journey with God, with really believing what he says about me and how he sees me. It's not easy. I know the words are in the Bible and I will read it, but I am not at a place yet where I fully believe it. But I think when it comes to business and purpose, I'm not too concerned about comparison. I used to be, but not anymore, because I really believe God has set something aside for me that's unique for me. And Creflo Dollar said it in a sermon the other day, that God has designed something for you and he chose you to do it. So why would I compare myself to anybody else? That assignment is for you.
yes.
And so it's the same thing. What I am doing now, like when comparison comes up or if I start spiraling, I will shut the thought down very quickly and say, that is a lie. That's not the truth. Like, that is from the enemy. I think it's so easy for women to spiral in comparison and our insecurities, and then the enemy gets a grip and it becomes your reality. It's what you start to believe. So I think as a woman, how I'm trying to navigate that season so that I can be so sharp and be fully secure to be like, nope, that's a lie.
Yes.
Nope, that's not what God says. Nope, that's not how God sees me. Nope, that's not how my husband sees me, because the only thing I actually really care about is how God sees me and how my husband sees me. Doesn't mean it's always easy, but that's the journey I'm taking myself on, to make sure that I'm just not letting myself spiral.
Yes. Do you think social media has to do with all of this, especially when it comes to just day-to-day people? You know, people see that they're making this amount of money, they look this way, they have these items, etc., and it kind of makes people have anxiety. It makes
Yes.
people like in a depressive state.
Yes.
But again, what's for us, it's from God. What's from
Yes.
them is from God. So it's like, brother, what's meant for you is meant for you. What's meant for me is meant for me. You know, like the whole situation when it comes to that, but I understand, because social media makes it look like everything is so shiny when
Yes.
it's really not. Like,
Yes.
everybody's going through something, you know, like there's stressors every single day. Like on my end, like I'm stressed right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
Yes.
again, how do we carry it?
How do we carry it?
Exactly.
Yes. And I do believe social media has a big part to play. And I think it's very important to, if you have vulnerable areas, like let's say insecurity, comparison, you need to be aware of it so that you can make adjustments. So if there are certain pages that make you feel insecure, unfollow it. I know it sounds so simple, but it's true, because we're consuming it all the time. So we're seeing this all the time. So I think it's really important for us to make sure that we are consuming certain things. So we have to constantly redirect ourselves to the Bible, to worship, to God, but social media pages that actually pour back into you, because there are plenty. There really are. It's just, it's a matter of finding it. And what God has had to work with me a lot, because I feel like this taps into multiple areas of my life, is God has said you need to be content with little and with much, because you're going to be in seasons with little and with much. And that filters into everything: comparison, business, marriage, everything, health. And so I think if you just learn to be content with Him and know that He is enough for you, that'll help the comparison, the insecurity to die out.
Yes, and in that word comparison, the fitness sector,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost filled with that, like where, I'm in the industry as well,
Yes.
and they, for men, there needs to be a particular look in order to be the part. But I'm like, I don't want to be jacked with steroids. Like I am not willing to
Yes.
sacrifice my
Yes.
long-term health for a moment, for a look.
Yes.
I just can't,
Yes.
I can't break that barrier, and I can't
True.
ruin and go past my morals and values. You know what I mean? So there's that
Yes.
standard
Yes.
that we stick to. But again, social media tells you have to do things this way or else what?
It's true.
Yeah, but doing things, am I going to do things the way man is telling me or the way God is
Yes,
telling me?
that's so good. It's so true. And it's true. I've seen that for men in the fitness space, and what we see for women in the fitness space too. It's exactly the same thing. It's a certain body type. It's certain muscle groups that are the trend and has been trending for a very long time. But I love what you said. It's so important to go back to God's standard and His way of doing things compared to the world's way. And I also want to say, I think we have to be so careful in the fitness industry, because it's an incredibly vain industry to be in. And so I think as believers, we have to find a way of navigating that balance of health and not vanity. But I also believe there's parts of the fitness industry that's become very sexualized. I've seen it for women. And so that's why I do encourage women, be very careful what fitness people you are following, because that's what you're consuming and seeing all the time. And so find fitness pages that are wholesome.
Yeah.
And creators that are wholesome, because they are there. You just need to find it so that it's not warping your reality, and then just making sure that you stay on track.
Having my own gym in my garage is so impactful for my end, because again, it's just guarding my heart.
Yes.
It's so easy to even say, go on social media. It's everywhere now.
It's
Back in the day, you had to work to be
Yes.
able to see something.
Yes.
Now you open up an app and it's right there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I also, when it comes to being in a public space, that means so much to me, because again, that's person to person. That's not
Yes.
digitally. Person to
Yes.
person is where actually something could happen digitally too. But again, guarding your heart is just another
Yes.
form of just guarding your actions so nothing gets done wrongfully.
Yes. Just going back to guarding your heart, it's everything boils down to what you expose yourself to. So insecurities and comparison comes from, what are you exposing yourself to? So either something has happened to you, or you are constantly exposing yourself to something that is not making you feel good. And when you're constantly being exposed to that, that's what's going to affect your mind, your feelings, your actions, your behaviors. And so I agree with you 100%. You have to do what you have to do. Like protecting yourself, it looks different for all of us, but you need to find what works for you that's going to guard your heart, mind, and soul.
Yes, absolutely. When did God place that when did He call you to place you in that fitness sector?
That's a good question. I think I've always just loved the fitness space, the health and fitness space. It was very natural to me. I think because growing up, I enjoyed sports. And so when I was in college and I was studying to become an industrial psychologist, which I probably would have loved, but I still had a love for fitness. It was just in me. You know how it is.
Oh.
It is just in you. You
Natural
just
as
love
breathing.
it. Yes, it is. I remember being 18, 19, 20, and I would go to the gym and work out. And literally, as I'm doing my squats, I would be like, how can I actually do this? Like, how can I actually make this a living? Because I just knew I loved this. And so it wasn't anything I pursued yet. But when I was dating Caim, he always saw I was so passionate. I would, the same thing as you, when you would look at certain athletes, I would do the same thing. I would always find fitness people that I admired and wanted, and they were trainers, they were personal
Yes.
trainers. And so I would watch and follow them and see how they would train their clients, how they would present themselves. And I just loved it. And I remember one day, I think we were married. Yes, we were married. And Carmi said to me, why don't you just study to be a personal trainer? Like, you've been talking about it for such a long time. It's something that you just love.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, we moved to the US. I didn't have working rights for the first year and a half. So you see how God works too. And in that time, that's when I studied to become a personal trainer. And so I did my certificate, and then I got my working rights. I went straight away into the gym, and I loved it. I think it's incredible when you find something you love, but you know God's given it to you. Like, it's undeniable what you can be passionate about, fulfilling. And working with clients, it was just amazing. And you can relate to this because you work with clients. It's so deep because you get to speak to them about their mind. You get to see how they think. What do they think about themselves? So yes, we can get you the end result, whatever it is on the physical side, but how can I help and pour into you mentally, spiritually? And that for me is just fulfilling. And so I feel like God just put that desire in my heart from a young age. It was more just now being obedient and taking the steps.
You feel the day-to-day benefits of obviously when you prioritize your fitness as well.
Yes.
But being able to pass that down is the biggest blessing. My mother always told me and my siblings when we were younger, like, you kids are very blessed, but this blessing would be useless if you do not pass it down. So that was just a natural thing. Whatever we were given by God, give it back.
Yes.
You know, so again, helping and being the guider to be able to assist people. God is the one creating the change. He's just using us to help guide these people. But I always remind my clients, because, you know, at the end, when they get to their goal, they say thank you. And I'm like, brother, you're the executioner. I'm just the assist here. God's providing the slam dunk, but you're the one doing the steps. You know what I'm saying? So it is such a blessing to be able to assist somebody in that avenue, the best.
It really is a blessing. It's a blessing, and it is a beautiful thing. It really is. And you said this thing, we are all called to be a blessing to others. And that's in anything, but even more so in your career. So anything that you are doing that you can pour into that person, that's what we're supposed to do.
So talk about the different journeys within every client, and what are like dealing with all of these journeys like given you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I didn't see that coming. Wow. I think because I love working with women, and I don't think I would ever not work with women. And I just really believe God lets you go through certain things, like the insecurities, like the comparisons, like whatever it is, so that you can learn, develop, and pour that into the next woman. And so with all the clients that I had in person, I would just listen at first to see where they were at. Where are they mentally? Where are they spiritually? Where are they? And each woman was different, but I think a lot of the women still had the same issues of comparison, self-worth, or sometimes I would really love when clients would open up to me about their trauma, like deep trauma. I remember we would be doing like a leg extension, and then they tell you, you're like, whoa. But what an honor that you trust me with that information, that you can share that with me, because not every client I had was a believer, but I could pray for them in my mind and spirit. And that's what I loved, whether they knew it or not. And I wouldn't ever be shy to share my faith with them. Like, gently, I would speak about God and go into church. And some of my clients they'd end up coming to church. And again, each journey with each client, some of them, they are just similar. Like, I think a lot of women are like, I'm going through this, I'm doing this, and blah, blah, blah. This is the end result that I want. So I think a lot of the times it is very similar in journey. But then you get the few that really go deep with you and share and open up everything. And that for me, I can't explain it. It's just, that's when you know God has put you there for a reason. Because everything we're doing, we're going to be ministering to people. It doesn't matter what role you're in, but that's why God has placed that person in front of you. You had a 2-part question, so I can't remember what the second part of the question
I have to
was.
rewind it.
I know you were asking if each...
Every client almost sharpens up your toolbox.
Yes.
So
yes.
something that I've recognized within every client, it allows me to adapt and become a better leader.
Yes.
And I love that the most, because I always tell my clients, you guys think I'm the one pouring so much, but you pour more to me.
That's true.
And then being able to like have that under my tool belt allows me to just give more.
Yes.
So that is one of the beautiful things about just working with people is they give you so much back. They add to your tool belt. You know what I'm saying? So even with you, when you are working with specific clients, again, every single one has a different journey, but every single one gives you something back.
They do. They do. And I remember there would be a client, she was an incredible corporate woman. And so there's certain things that I would look for or admire, and it's that same thing. They would just give you advice or feed something back into you. And so I think you just almost receive different kinds of blessings, so to say, from each client. Like if a client opens up vulnerably to you, that's huge. That's a blessing in and of itself, because it means that they trust you. And then there's a type of client that'll pour back into you and say, hey, this can be better. Hey, you can do this better. And then there'd be a type of client that would just be a wife, and they can talk to you about, this is how I navigate things with my husband. And so it really is become a two-way street. And that's the same thing. I love working with people.
I've had moments, and I've had one recently where I was able to just give free services, but it was like a dire emergency. And I felt that, and I was like, you know what? This person is in dire trouble and wasn't in the best suit financially, but I was willing and still doing it, pouring out as if I would if it was a paid client. Again, it's kingdom work.
Yes.
It is not an earthly matter. This is kingdom work. So I told him, I was like, brother, your mission is to be a fireman. Your mission is to be able to get to that objective physically, mentally, spiritually. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'll work with you as long as it takes. So I got you. But the way you pay me back is you execute.
Yes. Yes. Is he a believer too?
Praise God, he is.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess his family knew me through my grandfather, because my grandfather was a pastor for 50 years. So my grandfather laid an impact on this world, and they knew me from my family, and they had reached out to me, and then we had a little circle here with the meeting with the family, and it was just impactful. Again, I pray to the Lord every single day, Lord, use me here. Like who do I need to assist today? What room do you want me to place today to be able to lend a hand to somebody? Use me, Father God, please.
Yes.
And in that avenue, it was just more impactful.
Yes.
And I felt that tug from the Holy Spirit, like, help this man. I'm like, you know what? I got you, brother.
I love that.
And I met him that day. That day. And I said, I love you. I'm going to work with you every single day. And we've been working out for 5 months now. Again, kingdom work. You know what I'm saying?
But it's true.
We don't play around. You know what I'm saying?
But why I love that you do that, because the kingdom's for everybody. It's for believers and non-believers. Sometimes believers need those reminders. And that's why I love that you're doing that for him, because you're showing him this is how it is to conduct yourself as a believer, as a kingdom ambassador. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah. For you, when you started your business, did you learn by trial and error, or did you have any business experience from the past? Like, how did you, when you first stepped into that world, were you kind of like learning as you go? I mean, I did for sure. I was like, what is going on?
Yes.
Like taxes, another account, what?
So definitely, yes. I am still very new in the business. I'm a little baby. And so it's almost twofold. When I was an in-person personal trainer, I was working for a gym. So I didn't have my own business. I would do online clients here and there. And then I started at Redemption. So I stopped personal training completely. Like I was building, at the time it was called Cat Le Roux Fit. So I was starting to build a business and then got pulled into Redemption. And then whilst I've been at Redemption, I started to go back. And that's what started Caim. So that's why I say I'm still a baby, because now it's like I'm going back into business. And so I am in a learning stage. I think we're always going to be learning.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every day I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes. And everything is trial and error. I think what I really have to tell myself is things don't need to be perfect. You just need to go and do it. Like, let go of the perfection. You need to go and launch something, and you're gonna learn along the way. And I definitely do everything by trial and error, but I still seek counsel. So I'll go to my husband because he's in the coaching world and he's been doing it for a couple of years now, and he's really built a really solid business. And so I'll go to him, I'll ask him questions. I'll ask my father-in-law. He's a really good businessman. My brother too. I'm so proud of him. He's a videographer. And so I remember calling him about a month or two ago, and I'm like, Joel, what are you doing that I am not doing? But again, you see, everything goes back to mentorship. Like, mentorship looks different for everybody. Just ask, like, seek the counsel. And so my brother he laid out the foundation for me, saying, okay, if you want to launch this business, this is where you're going to have to be. This is where you're going to have to start. This is what you're going to have to do. And he's a believer too. So I think that's amazing too. We all have that kingdom mindset. And so it's exactly what you're saying as well, where there'll be times where you're going to also have to do things for free so you can learn and add to your tool belt. So that's why I would say I'm still new and I'm still learning and in the starting phase of building a business.
And how does that feel to even just see it progress?
Oh,
You know, I mean, that's the fun part.
that is the
again,
fun
it's like a
part.
newborn baby, but you see it
Yes.
just grow bit by bit by bit. It's
Oh
the
my
best.
gosh.
It's the best.
Because it's a dream and vision God gave me. So just God gave that vision to me in 2020, which was 5-6 years ago. And so just now seeing the vision he gave me and seeing the direction it's going, that's what excites me. And we are all meant to be of service to people. But when I'm doing that, I feel like I'm fully of service. I can't explain it.
Well, when it's given to you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's natural
Yes.
because it was given. It's there's so much purpose involved in what you do because it was given to you. And it's something that you genuinely love as well.
Yes.
So it's like, it's easy.
It is easy. It really is. I think that's what makes me happy and pushes me to keep pursuing this dream and vision, is because, first of all, it was God-given, like my husband. It was God-given, and I can just see the direction it's going and seeing it progress. Like we launched Caim in 2024. We did 2 events, but then I got pulled into Redemption. I took a step back, and then I started pursuing it again, and we had our very first fitness event in January. It was amazing. Like, it overwhelmed me with emotions to see it. Wow, God, like, you've given this to me to take care of and to nurture, but to be able to have, it's God sent, but he's allowing me to be creative. He's like, here you go, just create what you need and create what you want. And yes, the event, it really was beautiful. It was at a stunning gym. My best friend opened up her gym, and it was beautiful, and she let me use the space. We had a Pilates workout, and we had women there. But I think there's just something so special about being able to infuse God into everything. So he's number one at the end of the day. For this business, he's number one. So he's going to be talked about. You're going to be prayed over. But it is so incredible he allows you to bring in your creativity and the things that you love all together. And just at that event, the women loved it, but there was one woman in particular, because we have like a structure that we follow. You know, people come in, we have a DJ music and everything, and the women mingle, and then we do a Pilates class, and then the prayer at the end. And that's my favorite part. That truly is my favorite part. And we had a prayer at the end, and it hit one woman, and she just had an entire revelation. And that's the whole point. Yes, it's beautiful, which I love, but that is the whole point. And that's what makes me so excited to see, wow, God, obviously he's doing this. But when you're really like, wow, God, your hand is in this, because it is his. It's not mine at the end of the day.
Again, that's standard, his standard.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also laying that down physically, but digitally as well. Because again, like we
Yes.
talked about social media,
Mm-hmm.
how they want you to post in this fashion,
Yes.
but you're like, no, this is going to be led by God. So I'm going to do things his way. And sometimes people are going to be like, oh, you're never going to grow that way. Well, it's like, well, what does that mean? Like grow numbers wise when it comes to
Yes.
followers? I'm like,
Right.
I don't care about that kind of growth. I'm talking about growth when it comes to the kingdom. It's so, so important. Again, it helps so many people, young women who are struggling with that.
Yes.
Again, is
Yes.
that a lot of weight for you?
No.
Because I had Carmine when he came on, and I was telling him that you guys are a phenomenal example for the youth and for the young adults. And then he stated that sometimes that comes with a lot of pressure. That comes with a lot of weight sometimes. But then he also confirmed like what a blessing it is to carry that weight. So with you, you're leading a community here. That is weight. But what a blessing it is to carry that weight.
Yes.
You're leading a community via social media. That is also a weight because you're not posting how other people post.
Yes.
Laying down a standard. Very important.
It is important. It doesn't feel like a weight to me, because I think when you start to, yes, there will probably be seasons of where it can feel weighty, absolutely. But I just believe when God has given you something and you need to live by a certain standard, it just is what it is. I mean, I can't explain it. I don't feel a weight. I just have a love. It's more love. It's more love, and maybe the weight comes in where I have to make sure that I am continually in the word, because of the direction it's going to go. We had the lady who had that testimony at the event. She said that she had a vision of it being on a larger scale, and we are laying hands on women and praying for women. And I get goosebumps. That's the whole point. And so I think the weight more comes in for me to make sure that I'm aligned with God, I'm aligned with his word, I'm aligned with his truth, because Caim is representative of him and his standard. And I don't want to fall short of that standard. I think it's because it's the beginning. I'm probably just full of excitement and the creativity that I haven't felt that weight. But I think because also in our marriage, we've carried certain things to a certain standard. We've conducted ourselves to a certain standard that that's infused into Caim.
You know how people, they do give you guidance, and they give you things that they have learned along the way. And then sometimes you'll try it and you're like, this doesn't work for me, but I replaced it with this.
Yes, I think that always happens. I think that happens in anything. Yeah. In business, if you're working for an organization, that's always going to happen. And I think the most important thing is that you are able to adapt. We were watching this TV show the other day, and he said the most successful people are not the strong people, the smartest people, it's the ones who adapt. And so with Caim, and even working at Redemption and leading teams, like you can have an idea in your head that, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to run it like this, I'm going to do it like this. And then you get the feedback and you need to pivot. I've had that every single time, which I love. I do genuinely love to be able to see the feedback and see how we can make things better. I do say that there are sometimes times where I struggle when I hold on to an idea, because I'm like, no, I want to do it this way. Like, this is how I see it. But my close people know me that I can tend to be that way, and they'll be like, Cat, you need to let it go. So you just need to have people around you that say, Cat, you need to let it go. And I think you just have to know, okay, at the end of the day, it's for the people. Yeah. So I have to do what's going to be of service to the people. But Daniel, all the time, especially in ministry, that's how ministry is. It's go change, go change, go change. And then there will be times where you can create something that's consistent, that will stay.
Yes. This too, part of community is so important. within Caim, you have a beautiful community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also have those sisters
Mm-hmm.
to be able to assist you in this journey as well,
Yes.
right? Because they might see things that you may not
Absolutely.
see. And then for
Yes.
them to give you that intake, that insight is so valuable. Do you remember those moments where you guys had that alone time and they almost kind of made you do this? They kind of expanded your horizons.
Yes. I would say there's probably 3 women in particular that do that for me. And they're just God given. They are my closest friends and they will see things very differently. The one girl, she's a content creator, an incredible, successful content creator. And so I won't always ask her for ideas because I respect that's her business and I don't want to come across as a person that's like take. But she is generous enough to say, Kat, what if you do this? What do you think about this? What about this? So God's blessed me with her. And then my best friend too, that's opened up the gym, she's just a business-minded woman.
Yeah.
And so she will remove emotion from things because I can have emotions involved sometimes. And
Yeah.
so she can remove emotions and give me insights into certain areas. And then I have another friend who's incredible in the special event space. And so, right?
Got the whole, what are you, like Avengers or what?
What? And so every time, well, we've only hosted one event this year, and then we started doing run clubs as well. And so I will always go to her, what did you think? What did you think? So constantly for those 3 women, and then my husband too, I will always go to them and say, what do you think? Because they have so much insight. There's only so much you can see as one person. But that's just God. Like, God has just blessed me with the people to help push Caim forward.
Yeah. And isn't it so important not to take that for granted?
Oh, absolutely.
Again, we were talking
Yes.
about fellowship before we got on,
Mhm,
and it's so important when you are with people and time is being obviously given and
Mhm.
received. We cannot waste that.
I would say the people that are in my life right now, we all have a very good understanding of time and how important time is and what really is important, what we need to focus on. Because I think I've had friendships that just weren't like that, and I had to let go of those friendships because you have to create a circle of people that are going to have the same things that they want, like have the same vision, the same goals, the same aspirations, same faith, because that also keeps you accountable to make sure that I'm not wasting time. And so I think because I've moved myself in that direction, I'm very lucky that the circle that I have around me, they're not wasting time. And my mentor too, I love her. She does not waste time. She's a godly woman. She's married. She has a husband. She has a child. She's got a lot on her plate. She's in ministry, but she's very specific and intentional with her time. And I've seen that. So that makes me be like, okay, I need to do the same thing. So I would say I can see that happening with other people. But the season that we're in, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
You have to let your yes be yes and your no be no.
It's so amazing too, because you walk with such a heavy standard, but you're also surrounded by people who carry even a heavier standard. And I think that
Yes.
is so, again, important when it comes to mentorship. They are not just talking about it, they are walking it
Yes.
daily. And like Pastor Randy is somebody who I'm under. This man just does not stop.
Nope.
It's like he is truly a soldier of God.
He is.
And I'm like, Pastor. like I think I'm busy,
Brother.
and then I'm like, goodness,
Yes.
your schedule is hectic. I don't know how you sleep, but again, they don't play around.
Mm-mm.
You don't play around when it comes to the kingdom.
Mm-mm.
So again, seeing that firsthand is just so impactful.
It is. And we're so lucky to be in their proximity. Like Pastor Andy, I love Pastor Andy. Oh my goodness. I just have a lot of respect for that man because it's the same thing. He has a very high standard and he's got a lot on his plate too in terms of, he has a wife, he's got kids, grandkids in ministry, the health and fitness, his health and fitness goals. And I remember one day I was leaving work and it was dark outside. There he was walking around the building with his, what do you call it? The vest?
His
weighted vest.
Yes.
And I was like, there's no excuses for him. And I'm so grateful you're in his ministry because that's the kind of people we need to be around. They're not playing. Yes, there have been times I've even been playful in my walk with God. I have not been perfect. And so it's that continual walk with God where I say, God, I'm so sorry. I messed up. Let me try again. That's what I'll say, because I know the areas that I do struggle in, and I'll say, God, I'm sorry. Okay, let me try again. And Holy Spirit, keep working in me until I've developed that area.
You know, I don't know how to go through my day not being used by him.
Yes.
You know, I just don't know I don't want to know what that feeling is like. Yes. And I was like that in the past, you know, like living in the way of the world, just doing things my way and thinking that is the way. It's very arrogant.
It
very arrogant.
But I loved what you said. You said, you asked God, God, how can you use me today? How can I express myself today? And I haven't done that. And I love that you do that. So that's something that I want to do every single day. And
I've had multiple scenarios where I've had to ask that in very dangerous situations as well. Like very conflict altercations. Like one, we celebrated my cousin's birthday party in Sacramento. There was drinking involved. There was a lot of people who were drunk, but I'm the oldest when it comes to my siblings. So I'm like the dad. So it's like I have to be mindful within my intake too. But there was a moment where one of her friends, that was a guy, got really drunk. And he had like 20 cousins with him, all big guys. Wow. And my other cousin, I guess, was talking bad about him. He responded in a very bad manner to the point where he tried to attack her right when I was there. The thing is, though, I wasn't thinking about, you know, my job is to protect people, right? My job is to make sure everybody's okay. I only had 6 cousins on my side, while he had like 20 plus. And he told me there was a moment where he tried to chase her down. And then I grabbed her, pushed her away out of the way, and I got in front of him and he pushed me against the house. And then he looked at me, he said, I'm going to kill you and your whole family. I just put my hands behind my back and just like, what are you going to do? Wow. But again, asking God, use me here. Wow. Use me here. And then I also thought, I could have easily responded in a fleshly manner. Yes. But if I did, it's going to be 6 of my people who are younger versus 20 plus of his people. Yes. I'm not thinking about my safety. I'm thinking about their safety. Wow. And it was funny. One of my cousins was like, dude, like, why didn't you do anything? I was like, because I'm not thinking about my ego or the way he insulted me and my family. First of all, he's harmless and I know him. He's not going to do anything, you know? And then second, I'm thinking about your guys' safety. So did I look kind of like wimpy in that scenario because I didn't respond? For sure, in a fleshly manner, but in the kingdom, I want to respond like how he would respond. I mean, that's the thing that I one of my core things, like my motto is like crucify the flesh and respond like Christ. Yes. That's like something that I just want to stick to, especially in dark moments. Yes. But that's when it comes out. And Creflo Dollar always says the most dangerous man is a peaceful man. Oh, and that is what combat taught me. But I admire that you did that, because it could have gone so many different ways, but to really die to self and say, okay, I'm thinking about others. I'm thinking, how would God do this? How would Jesus do this? It's not always easy. Yeah. And especially when it's heated, especially when it's dark. Yes. How long did it take for you? Because I feel like that's something that I'm working on, is not letting my flesh come out. How long did it take for you to get to that point? Because just in the conversations we've had and things you've faced, and you didn't let your flesh come out. I don't want to say I gotten that dialed, because again, I still respond. In my flesh, you feel it. Yes. You feel like you want to respond wrongfully. And I feel like that's, again, I want to be able to like just ignore that or not even have that feeling, but I do. But I just ask him for guidance during moments like that. So I don't think it is dialed. I don't think it'll ever be dialed. It's just constant refining. Yes. I think it's just constant sculpting as we get better, as we grow. Because again, I am not married. I do not have kids. I don't have a weight on me. And I feel like there will be moments where my flesh does get tested. Yes. So I can never, ever say that it is just refined, because my kids, don't have kids? How am I going to respond when I have grandkids? Moments of
Yes.
conflict, moments
Yes.
of somebody sick,
Yes.
moments of a family member passing. How am I going to respond? How am I going to react and respond? All of these things just matter. I don't think
Yes.
it'll ever be refined. I just think it just gets better. Just like with anything,
True.
business, you
Yes.
start off as a baby and then you
Yes.
just get better, comes naturally, but there's always going to be stressors. Like, especially when it comes to friendships, brotherhood, sister, friendships, marriage, there's always going to be something that pops up, but how we respond just matters, So I genuinely don't think it'll ever again, ever be perfect.
I love that.
Make mistakes all the time.
We do. And that's why I'm appreciative of you sharing, because again, we always speak about having a high standard, and we should always want to have a high standard for ourselves. And there are times when we fall short. And then when we do fall short, you apologize, like, okay, God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you analyze the situation. Okay, what could I have done better for the next time? And I believe that's the best thing you can do when we do fall short.
Again, walk so boldly and confidently. He just blesses you very unexpectedly too.
Yes.
They come out of the blue.
Yes.
Like I pray for godly men. Lord gave that to me right away, where there was extra accountability to men sharpen my walk. Such a blessing.
And you have good men in your life that are sharpening you.
The best. Like I love to say this, and I've been saying this since I was a kid. I walk with men who are just simply better than me.
How did you have that from a child? Because not every child has that.
My father had his own church back in the day. And as a pastor's kid, you have to talk to everybody. You cannot, yes, you're in the back with the kids, but my father was like, no, you're going to sit in the front. Yeah. He's like, and you're going to talk to everybody. Like you're going to shake hands with people and like talk to them.
Wow.
And sometimes these adults, like this kid's like looking at my face as if he's a grown adult. But again, that was just, I wanted to be able to have that, because I saw the benefits of just being, again, corrected, again, being technically critiqued, and sometimes when I was young, I understood it, but I also sometimes didn't like it. Like fighting. Goodness. When I was an athlete, I would go into that gym. It was never a good day. Everybody's better than me. I would get beat every day. And what a blessing that is. Yes. I walk out better every time I get out of that gym.
Yes, but that is such a refreshing perspective, because I think we live in a world where we want to be the best. We want to be number one.
I listened to this podcast too. Patrick Bet-David, he said, like, I got paid more when I was the number 2 guy. He says, number 1 guy is the last priority. Wow. Because the number 1 guy, if you're a true number 1 guy, you're making sure everybody gets fed before you. You're the last resort. Leaders eat last.
It's amazing. And I've been very blessed because my husband is exactly that too. And his dad's like that, and my dad's like that.
Well, Kat, I have 2 more questions for you, okay? If this was your podcast, and if you had a particular question for me, what would that question be?
This is a very good question. I would say you have given out wisdom in this conversation, but what would you say to somebody who... 2 questions. What would you say to somebody who doesn't know what they want to do in life? And what would you say to somebody who is just wanting to start a business?
First question is pay attention to every single season that God has given you. When I was younger, I was very frail. I was not firm. I would let people push me around. I was bullied from 3rd grade all the way to freshman year of high school. I let people do whatever they want to me. And I genuinely feel like God placed combat into my life to be able to give me those attributes to be firm. Not to learn how to fight. Not to learn how to fight, but just to be firm. Learn consistency, be disciplined, just show up. And that's, again, that season gave me those traits. So when I ask and tell these young men, pay attention to the seasons because there's a gift there, but you need to listen and reflect. Reflect, because when you see it and spot it, it comes natural. Just like what you speak about when it comes to the fitness industry, it's so natural. And then the second, starting a business, again, it has to be God-given. If it's from the flesh, it's forced. And that's what leads to burnout, because it's not given. And I see that a lot now where in Silicon Valley especially, people really love to compete. Businesses love to compete. Like me and my brother, we founded a media company. And when we did that, we were in rooms that were networking with other people who had media companies. And we had a man who was doing phenomenal in the space, pretty much threatened, to like, oh, I'm going to take your clients, this and that, this and that. Very, very firm, very abrasive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, shout out to you, man. But I was like, bro, what's for you is for you. What's for me is what for me. And you can't take that away.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but again, if it's from the flesh, if you see what somebody else has and you want that, that's a fleshly desire. It will not work. It won't be sustainable. If it's something that is given to you,
That's so good.
even if it's not flashy, it's okay.
Yes.
Put it out there. Like, it's funny, learning a trade, being a plumber is very valuable.
Absolutely.
I don't have the time of day or the
No.
skill set to be able to do that. So I'm going to find the best plumber around in this area so they can fix that problem.
Mm-hmm.
So again, when somebody starts a business and when they have a unique skill set, put it out there, but you have to pay attention to what he's giving you.
Yep.
Again, social media really damages the
Yes.
youth,
Yes.
young men, young women into pursuing something that looks so attractive, but sometimes it does not need to be shiny.
Yes.
It's okay that it's not shiny. As long as you're obedient to what he's given you, he will continue to multiply that.
I love that.
So I would say that pay attention to what he's given you. And if you have a certain skill set, put it out and serve the people the best you can. And what a blessing it is to be able to do that. The greatest thing I get to do is pour out to the people. The greatest thing I can do. And I will never, ever retire.
But I believe when you are doing what God has called you to do and what you're passionate about, you won't retire. You're going to just find different ways of doing things.
Yeah, delegate. Change things a little bit. But again, never stopping. Never stop pouring. That's the best thing.
Absolutely.
So, Kat, last and final question for you, okay?
Yes.
So if your younger self could see your life today, what do you think she would thank you for?
I don't want to start crying again. I think she would thank me for definitely my husband. I know I speak about him a lot, but God has always been there for me, and Caim is my biggest blessing. And she would just be very proud to see, like, just where you are, like the man you married and the marriage that you have. She would say thank you. Thank you for being obedient and listening to God at that youth rally. And she would say, you touched on this because you mentioned that you had been bullied for quite a long time and for many years, and I relate to that too because I had the same thing. And so she would thank me for learning to be firm and to be consistent, because that's what you said. When you were younger, you were frail, and I was frail too. And so if she had to see me now, she would say, thank you for choosing your husband, and thank you for learning to be firm and learning to be secure.
Powerful, sister. If people want to get a hold of you, where should they go?
That's such a funny question. You can find me in the foyer at Redemption. I'm kidding. But they can follow me on Instagram if they would like. What is my Instagram handle?
I'll plug everything in the description show notes, so I got you guys. You did the same thing.
You got me, guys. Can I re-say that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But even this is even natural, though.
Yes, you can keep the natural parts.
But we're also going to add it.
I'm just going to say, because I know you're going to put it on the
show notes.
You're going to put it on the show notes, okay? So they can either find me in the foyer at Redemption, because I'm always there and I love to connect with people. So please come and find me. Come give me a hug. Or you can find me on social media. Listen, if you like Instagram, I have 2 accounts. I have my personal account, Cat, and I have my business account, Caim. So
Perfect.
If women are wanting to be in the fitness space, go to Caim.
Yes, amen. Well, Kat, again, thank you so much for your time. We talked about time heavily before we got on air. And I appreciate both you and Caim, the walk that you guys are doing, the way you guys are leading. Trust me, it is very inspirational. I just want to thank you for what you guys do for the kingdom, the both of you. And that's something that is not to be played with. And you guys don't play with that whatsoever. But just thank you. And I cannot wait to just see the progression within both of you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having me. And I want
course.
to say we appreciate you too. And we don't take it lightly for granted that you've had us here. And we always want to just come humbly. And we don't always know everything. So thank you.
Oh, we'll never know everything. Come
We'll
on.
never know everything. But I want to say to you, please don't ever change who you are and how you are. Because I love it. I love the love you have for the Lord and just the wisdom that you have and the people you surround yourself with. But you are a joy too. I think it's very rare to find people that are joyful and genuinely happy to see other people. So when you come in with that big clap and that big hug.
You know what that means of why I do that? So the way I tell this everybody to redemption, embrace people because that's your brother and that's your sister, but also hug them like you're never going to see them again. That's a priority for me. I have no idea when I'm going to see you guys again, but I want to make sure that mark is left behind, that you were cared for, that you were loved for, because that matters. Side hugs, disrespectful.
Can I say one more thing? I know it's time to go. I hear you. Listen, I'm giving some men side hugs. I'm like,
oh no, yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure, yes.
You know what I mean?
Without a doubt,
I understand
yes.
where you're coming from.
Yes.
So I want to say, I just appreciate. No, listen, I'm like, I don't know who you are. Side hug. I'm married.
Yes. No, that makes 110%.
Yes,
No, agreed.
yes. So if you ever
Scratch
get a
that.
side hug from a woman, she's probably just conducting herself a certain way. That's why. But what I want to say is just thank you for caring for people the way you do.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode. If you got a lot of value out of this, please do me a favor and support our channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Make sure to hit that follow button on Spotify to stay updated with our latest episodes. And if you are listening on Apple Podcast, I would greatly appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star rating, followed by with a review. Again, thank you all for the support. Stay loving, stay hungry, and stay excellent.